Hey, um, what's up, happy dreamers? This is Star. This is the ADHD video series that I'm doing, just talking about my experiences and journey with ADHD because it's important that another Black woman tell her story with it, because it's important that another human being just tell their story with it. I want to talk about ADHD and jobs and career and my experiences with that because even though I have an overview video that talks about my whole life leading up to my diagnosis in August of 2019, I actually have a meeting tomorrow, and there's a specific reason I'm calling it a meeting and not an interview. And it's just like my whole philosophy around work and jobs has really been interesting. And I realize now why I desire to change that language and just change my whole mindset around it, including starting my business. Um, you know, all right, first and foremost, thank you for watching. Please subscribe. Please click the notification bell. This is the first time I put that call to action in a video, and I think it's really important if you want to keep up with the sporadic way that I'm going to be, and on sometimes on the fly way that I'm going to be uploading videos. It's really important that we do that because if you want to learn about ADHD, if you want to learn about just another Black woman's experience navigating being in America, living in the South right now, and just me getting to my dreams and my goals um, in relation to having this condition, it's important. Please support that. So I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable with myself, and so I'm excited to tell this aspect of things, this story. So ADHD and work, jobs, and freelancing, right? So throughout my life, I've had a really interesting relationship with work in relation to jobs. I don't like using the word job because most jobs that I've had going through life, I only recently graduated from college. Um, So while everyone or most people were either going to some kind of trade school, or they maybe moved into their family business, or maybe they were getting a degree, a bachelor's degree, I was just working and I was not getting a degree in school. So even though I had that intellectual ability, that desire for knowledge, I just lived life, and I was in New York City and I worked different jobs, and that was kind of like my school of life experience. So I didn't have I couldn't just, I remember when they were really pushing the communications degrees. And so, you go and you get a degree in communications and you may get a job in marketing or something like that. I didn't have that. I was working odd jobs, making like $10 and $12 an hour, maybe with tips, maybe not. But, or I was going into nonprofit programs, or I was doing a flight attendant, which people think is a great job. And it was not for me. It was great to travel, but some of the conditions of the job and the requirements of the job and the fact that it didn't allow me to grow my creativity and everything like that, because I wasn't doing a channel at the time or even writing about my experiences at the time, it didn't really feed me in the way that I would have wanted it to. So, I did jobs that did help me understand my strengths, and one of those things is that I am a people person. People enjoy talking to me. They enjoy interacting with me. They enjoy being touched by me. I used to do scalp massages and, shampoo heads and everything like that when I was working at hair salons and everything. And that was great. Um, but it just didn't feel like I was respected in a way that I wanted to be. It felt like I was still in a position of service and not the kind of service leadership kind of service that I have come to kind of enjoy being in that role, in nonprofits and in working with children. I was more of a just a servant, and I didn't enjoy that. So the power dynamics of work had always kind of bothered me, and me, unknowingly having ADHD and not knowing or having the ability too easily manage my emotions around different microaggressions that would happen to me because I was a woman, because I was Black, because I was young, or just because I was in a position of subservience at these jobs. Um, Allowed these jobs to be very stressful for me. And, New York is a drinking town. So, there was always a bar for me to go kind of drown my sorrows in. And not that I would go get drunk, but happy hours and things like that were always a part of my culture. Um, and so I think I developed an unhealthy relationship with alcohol just from working in these jobs where like I was I didn't feel like I was getting everything out of it and it was getting the right things out of me. Even though I was making money, there were things that I never really could do for myself, like go on vacations or build up a 6-month savings account like everyone says that you should do. You know, New York is expensive, and then there's transportation. There's always little on the fly expenses. There were probably things I could have done with more planning, prioritization, and organization, but those are the very things that are challenging for someone with ADHD. So, kind of using this channel as a way to kind of express and examine some things. And I'm realizing, even as I'm saying this, that wow, I kind of had no chance of really finding fulfilling work early on in my career without being able to utilize those creative skills and kind of just going into more service based jobs and without having even the negotiation skills, which is something else completely. That is just something that most people don't have, most women don't have, and I think especially Black women don't have, which is the skills to negotiate and ask for what they're worth. So I think, you know, if I want to take responsibility for some of the choices that I made, I don't think I really had great self worth at the time. And while I'm not going to blame myself and say that's my fault, I'll say that in my period of growth at that time, I didn't really realize what I could be making, the money that I could be making. Let's switch over to freelancing just for a moment. Now I charge no less than $500 per project, and that price is going to go up. I am a writer, and my ability to hyper focus makes me amazing at being having attention to detail. I mean, I enjoy the editing process. Infinitely. And I enjoy the process of having words flow through me and ideas flow through me in an amazing, like just so much. So I found something that is good for me in terms of doing it, in terms of working with clients once they actually sign on and once we're able to communicate and come to an understanding of what's needed, doing the work itself and reaching a deadline. I feel like I won. I feel like I got a goal. I feel like how people must feel when they get a basket in basketball. Is that what you call it? Score a point. I'm not really a sports person, but whatever people in sports do that makes them win, that's how I feel when I reach a deadline with a project that I love doing. So I chose writing for that reason because it really works for me. It helps me focus my thoughts. I enjoy it so much. I probably should be writing right now, but talking also helps. So talking is good too. But um, so I say that to say I discovered writing as a job in 2012 when I started blogging, and I was really excited. My blog's name was Halise Talks, and I took a lot of risks with that blog. I was very vulnerable in talking about my experiences, relationships, but I kind of veered off into talking about celebrity and pop culture, reality shows, and then also talking about some of the experiences I had at the United Nations going and just I didn't really take it seriously and I kind of just made a joke out of it and was not really understanding. I mean, honestly, politics and these kinds of things does seem like a joke and a whole show to me sometimes. So I don't really. It is kind of hard to know what you're looking at is real versus if it's really authentic. So that is a factor. But I also will say that I was just so young at the time. I didn't really know how to take that, utilize it, monetize it in a way that would have had me probably set up with a nice um, clientele that I could have had right now. So I'm kind of starting over again with that. Um, they say that people with ADHD are great at being entrepreneurs for the reasons of having, being very good at innovation, being very good at willing to take risks, and being very good at working with their intuition. Oftentimes, they may also be people, like being a people person. So you're going to have to form relationships. I'm great at that, and I enjoy that. So that was kind of a turning point for me in the way I began to understand my talent and my power. But there was still so much of my passion and interest in terms of topics to write about that I think that when I would get rejections from editors, um, and just the pitching process with editors, to have to sustain that level of routine because it's kind of a numbers game. You kind of have to pitch to a lot of editors in order to get maybe a good number of responses or build strong relationships with editors, like a good number of them to kind of, if you want to just be published in magazines and newspapers and things, well, magazines and online, paid blogs and stuff. That process was kind of difficult to maintain. So I guess the creative aspect of it, I'm very good with, but the logistics, the business side of things, and the routine part of it, very difficult for someone with ADHD, man. And that's why I stopped. So I said, I think I need some structure, kind of understood that about myself. Let me go into nonprofit, let me get a job, you know, and that gave me some great structure. But the funding, man, like they never had funding. So I mean, they never had enough funding to really, again, it was like getting paid your worth. So it was like the things, I always felt like I was stuck between a rock and a hard place where I couldn't find that good balance that I wanted. I always felt like, either they wanted me and they couldn't afford me, or people who could afford me, I couldn't get enough of those clients in order to sustain myself. So either way, I was going to have to work an odd job. So, okay, welcome to the world of freelancing. Welcome to the world of being a small business owner. There are a lot of people have that issue. I'm just saying that the routine client getting activities that one would need to do become like twice as hard for someone who's dealing with ADHD and the issues surrounding that. So I just want to make that clear, man. Like, I just really want to make that clear. Um, so yeah, ADHD and work. Now, let me talk about tomorrow because um, tomorrow I'm going to be having a meeting, and I'm calling it a meeting because to call it an interview gives me so much anxiety, actually. I don't want to call it an interview. I really want to look at this in terms of this is a partnership, and if it's not a fit, then we won't go through with it. But if it is a fit, then we can continue to work. The subservience thing with just going into somebody and acting like you have to be everything they want you to be in order for them to like you enough to like grant you this job, even though I understand financial stability is so important. I just do not feel comfortable looking at things that way. Um, I want to be respected and I want to be understood, and I don't want to be judged because I move differently, behave differently. I don't want to be judged negatively because of that. I want to be appreciated for the strengths that I'm bringing to the table. I've found in event planning and again in writing that I have been and that I am. And it feels amazing to work with people who understand your strengths and talents. And when you create opportunities for yourself that don't require these things of you that are difficult for you, but it is difficult because it seems like there's always some aspect that like kind of goes against what you're naturally good at. And what I've learned is that it's if it ain't hitting those dopamine receptors, it's really hard to keep yourself motivated and completing those tasks. That has been my experience. So, as I find strategies around that, and I really think it means having an accountability partner. or just having, I don't know, scheduling some kind of app or something to like remind me to do something. But like every time I do that, I just like ignore, But I really think a human being who could keep me on track daily, like some kind of business coach or life coach or something like that. They also have ADHD coaches looking into, what some of those options may be for myself. I think that kind of arrangement will help me stay on track. Either way, I am able to execute in short, intense bursts. So give me a deadline and something I'm interested in, and I'm all over that, and I'm able to do that. But yeah, and any suggestions that you have maybe, are wonderful. Um, I've definitely considered just being an author as well, but I have a blockage or a belief in my mind that being an author is like I would be broke. So, well, and what's the difference? I'm already broke anyway, so I might as well just go ahead and try to do that. So I've got a couple of books in the works. Namely, I've got a book of erotic fiction that I'm working on right now. And the reason why that is what I chose to start with is because it's short stories and half of them are already written from long ago. And I'll just put them together. And got another friend of mine writing a few short stories for that. And so honestly, that feels very manageable to me. That's why I'm starting with that. I would like to push a book out by the end of this year or early next year, 2020. So again, ADHD and work and job. Oh, that's just a moth. Goodness, these things are everywhere. um, I want to go in tomorrow understanding what my strengths are. I want to go in tomorrow understanding that I'm meeting you on equal ground. I'm not begging you for anything. And I'm just trusting the universe that, I'm going to walk the path and it's going to show up as I walk it. Um, so yeah, that's my thoughts. There will be more thoughts on this. We can get so much deeper into this, but wanted to kind of give a quick overview on ADHD, jobs, work, and freelancing, and kind of like just my attitude on that. Um, Again, my attitude has always been one to where I want to be appreciated, but now I don't even know how to go into a situation like pretending to be something that somebody wants me to be so that they will give me something. It's like at the end of the day, God is my source, and no one human being is going to make that decision for me. I'm taken care of now, thank God. And I believe I always will be. I'm praying for a really good partner who can, I can help him make money and he can help me make money. And I understand that that's going to show up the way it needs to. I could already have that, or it could be someone new. I'm open to different possibilities, but they say that the two things that for someone with ADHD really needs to be aware of choosing well is their partner and their career. I never really took it for granted that I would actually end up with a partner. I'm single so long that, I'm just like, well, maybe I'll always remain single. But that seems to be changing. My thoughts seem to be kind of changing around that. Anyway, I hope this was an insightful video for you. I'm hitting the mark around 20 minutes, and that's kind of was my goal. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Again, you can subscribe. You can keep up with what's going on with me. Go to the blog too. You'll find that in the description. Do your own research on a lot of this stuff. I'm the kind of person where like I don't want to come out and be another authority on the science of ADHD because I'm not a scientist yet. Um, or maybe I'm just not a scientist officially. Like I know that I'm an observer and I'm definitely a theorist, but some of this research that's already been done, you can go kind of get an overview on it elsewhere. But this is about me and my personal experiences, and we're, this channel is about learning about what it's like, learning about what it's like for a Black woman, and learning about what it's like just for an individual to have ADHD right now in this day and age and how I'm navigating my life through it. Let it be an encouragement for you. I do want to offer you encouragement right now. If you're here and you've been rocking this long through the video, thank God for you. Because listen, you deserve the best life that you can give yourself and that you know that you deserve to have. So really understand that you deserve to have an awesome life. Tell yourself that every single day. And then see all the ways that you don't believe that come up. So it's going to get harder before it gets easier. But at least you'll be telling yourself and you'll be planting the seeds that you do deserve wellness and goodness. So peace out, y'all. Goodbye. Happy dreamers. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and thank you. Thank you for hanging out with me.